How you guys doing tonight? You guys good? Make some noise for yourselves for coming out here tonight. Parking. You got a parking spot, you put on pants. You barely put on pants. Those pants are really... Make some noise if you're drinking. Anybody drinking in here? Sweet. I'm drinking too. Anytime I drink, I like to Uber. Does anybody else do that? No, most people don't, but anytime I drink, I Uber. That's what people always say to do. If you get drunk, you should Uber. If you get buzzed, you should Uber. That's what I do. You know, my passengers are usually like, what the fuck is this? What's this guy doing? But it works for me. You guys know those bumper stickers that say coexist? I saw a lady driving down here tonight with one of those bumper stickers. It's got like the Star of David and the cross and the swastika, and it's like, we should all get along. And I get it, I agree. But I was driving tonight and I saw a lady with one of those bumper stickers that says coexist, and this bitch cut me off. I said, bitch, you can't even coexist with me on 95. What do you got big expectations for the globe, lady. I don't know, I was driving here tonight and I was thinking about my grandma. Any grandparents in here tonight? All right, 2 grandparents. My grandma always told me that movies and video games were too violent for kids. She said, they're too violent. You shouldn't watch that. I was like, Grandma, didn't you used to like throw rocks at witches and shit? Grandma, didn't you own a slave? All right, sorry about that one. No, but she's a sore loser. Like, we'll play like cards and board games, and she always has a smart-ass remark to make when I beat her. You know, like I'll beat her in checkers. She'll be like, even a blind squirrel is right every once in a while, you fat fuck, you know? I'll beat her in Uno. She'll be like, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, you retard. I'm sorry. But now she's old, she mixes her words up, mixes her thoughts up. One time I beat her in a game, and she was like, even a blind man busts a nut twice a day. And we stopped playing Twister after that, because it got weird. I'm broke. Is anyone here broke? Broke. Yeah, my card got declined at Wawa recently, during Hoagie Fest. So that should give you an idea of what's going on. Your card getting declined, it's not like when your dick won't get hard, you know? Because in both situations, you got a pretty good idea going into it that it's not gonna work out. But in both scenarios, you gotta stick it in there and hope for the best, you know? You gotta fiddle with it a little. And then you gotta lie about it. There's like a lady looking at you like, what's going on? You're like, I don't know, this is weird. I just used it down the street, it worked fine, I don't know. Maybe it's something on your end, I don't know. No, but I'm broke. I got a lot of broke friends. We play a game that every broke, straight white dude plays. It's called How Much Would It Cost You to Suck a Dick? And it's exactly what it sounds like. You just start throwing out numbers. My one friend was like, I'd do it for $1 million. We were like, dude, we'd all do it for $1 million. My other friend said 20K, my other friend said 10K, my other friend said 1,000. We were like, dude, it's like a homo auction is what it is. If someone just offered me 1 month's car insurance, we're discussing it. That's where we're spitballing. My other friend chimes in, he's like, would you guys suck a dick for world peace? We were like, what's this guy, gay? Like, no. What's this guy talking about? He's always asking weird stuff. Like, one time he was like, yo, what's the plural for clitoris? And I was just like, dude, you're never gonna be in this predicament. You know? Like, dude, you're never gonna be in this situation. Most girls don't even have one. I don't know what you're worried about 2 for. I don't know. He's always saying weird. He wants Joe Rogan to moderate the presidential debates. I was like, I don't know if I want that. I don't know if I want Joe Rogan from the Joe Rogan Experience to moderate the debates. I think I'd rather have Joe Rogan from Fear Factor moderate the debates. He could just be like, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, give us your take on foreign policy. But first, you gotta drink this horse cum. You gotta eat this cockroach. See that cliff? You gotta jump off that cliff. I'd go to that show. I mean, I'd watch that. I don't have a lot of political jokes, though. I really don't. You see a lot of political comedians, though. You see conservative comedians telling conservative jokes, liberal comedians telling liberal jokes. You don't really see that with magicians, though. You never saw a conservative magician like, I'm gonna make all the immigrants disappear. You never saw a liberal magician like, I'm gonna turn a little boy into a girl. Can I have a volunteer? I'd go to that show. Does anybody in here eat in the grocery store as they shop? White ladies. That's a dude. It's a white dude. I don't mind it. You know, I saw you see people, a couple grapes, a bag of chips, whatever. The other day I saw a lady straight up making a ham and Swiss on rye in aisle 7. Said, lady, step away from the Hellmann's. You can have like a handful of grapes. You can't have like a George Foreman grill out in the meat department. No, I was actually making 2 sandwiches the other day. One for me and one for someone else. 2 peanut butter jellies. You ever been in that situation where you're making 2 sandwiches with the same ingredients? They should be the same, but you already know which sandwich you're about to eat, you know? My sandwich is perfect. The peanut butter meets the edges, the jelly ratio is on point, cut it diagonal, there's no pubes in mine. Can't always say the same for my daughter. I'm trying to teach her young. You want something done, you really should do it yourself. I remember when her mom was pregnant with her, she wanted me to tell people that we were pregnant. I went along with it. I told my dad, I said, hey dad, we're pregnant. He was like, no, you're a bitch. I was like, that's fair. I told her, I'm done telling people we're pregnant unless you start telling people we have herpes. Because she blames that on me. This is a 2-way street. I called her on the phone one time and she was like, hey, I got you on speakerphone. I'm with my grandma, we're driving. You guys know that move? Hey, don't say anything crazy, my grandma's right here. She can hear everything, keep it PG. I understand, but what's her 80-year-old grandma think of me now? She think I need to be warned? Or else I'm gonna call her up and be like, what's up, you dumb bitch? How's them's titties hanging? No, not like that anymore. I got a couple of new jokes I want to try. You guys like movies? Sweet. You guys seen War of the Worlds, the Tom Cruise movie? Watched that the other day. And within 20, so his kids get dropped. He's like a shitty single dad. And his kids get dropped off to him. An hour later, the fucking world starts ending. So whoever came up with that movie was like, what if we just made a movie about if Tom Cruise had to take care of his kids, the world would just fucking come to an end. All right, cool. That's all that is. All right, I'm gonna do a couple more before we get out of here. I have a friend, she's gay. She told me she was dating a girl for about a month before they realized they were cousins. I said, what'd you do? She said, we stopped dating. I said, why? She said, cousins aren't supposed to date. I said, yes, straight cousins. So I don't think they have rules for this, for the gay ones. Straight cousins can't date because they might end up with a baby that has mental or physical disabilities. But if 2 gay cousins date, they'll probably just end up with like an Asian baby. I don't want to offend anybody in like the LGBTQ ESPN plus community. All right, cool. I'll do one more. I was hanging out with my friend the other day. He was like, yo, who do you think looks gayer when 2 dudes are 69ing with each other? The dude on the top or the dude on the bottom? And I was just like, dude, I think we both look pretty gay right now. So just give me that car insurance money so I can get the fuck out of here. All right, thank you guys so much. Start clapping right now for your next comic. He's a really funny dude. Keep that energy going for King Tank.